to the Mind Your Business podcast. I have Travis Denning and Pat Quinn with me tonight. And I'm going to get this out of the way right off the bat. We had planned this podcast a week or so ago, and I know some things happened last night at East Moline Speedway. We're not gonna discuss that. It's less than 24 hours old, and we had some other things we wanted to talk about that I think are going to help the racing community and help the tracks and help all this stuff. So that's what we're going to do today, and I'm welcoming everybody that was involved last night. If we wanted to have a podcast next week or something, that's fine. But I just wanted to get that out of the way. We're going to try to keep this positive and talk about what Travis and I had talked about last week, because I really like the idea. And so let me bring you guys on the screen here. And how you doing, Travis? What's going on?
Good. Just gonna announce some stuff for this Crown Vic race we got planned.
Okay. So and most people probably already know, right? But we're trying to get a 4.6 Crown Vic class going. They started out in Dubuque, and what'd you start with, Pat, up there? 5 or 6 cars, and now you're up to 15 or so?
We had 6 or 7 cars the first night, and we're up to, there is 14 or 15 cars that are built.
Yep.
On our best night, we've had 12 so far. One guy's car was tore up. Another guy, he's a pilot. He's a corporate pilot, so he flies quite a bit. So there are just certain nights.
Sure.
So people have been able to make it, not make it. Another fella, we got a couple guys come all the way down from Wanakee, just outside of Madison. They do race some asphalt stuff up there and stuff. The Reedners, they've been great. Our inaugural winner was one of them guys, and it's doing well. The class is growing. We're having a good time.
People are having fun. I can see that from shooting, because people are having fun.
I think they're having a great time. I guess one of the things is Kelly from Kelly Welter, the race director up there. Kelly brought this to me over the winter. But probably plan on being a little bit more involved. Got a little bit going on in family life right now, but we've got. I spent some time over the winter amalgamating the rules from some different tracks around the country, trying to do things that made sense. Trying to keep some of the expense out of it. Trying to keep the cars real basic. Do a lot of teching. I do a lot of poking and prodding on the cars. I look up in the frames, things like that. So we put together a rule package that your average guy can kind of put together. The only thing we're very mandatory about is the safety stuff. Everyone must have a good 4-post cage.
Yep.
We're keeping the cage and the supports all with inside the driver's compartment, stuff like that. But Kelly had brought this to me over the winter, and I thought, this could be a good class. Guys could have fun. We could bring some guys back. We could maybe get some new guys involved. One of my core groups of guys up there that have been real supportive is the Culbertson and Derek Dean and that crew of demo guys. The demo guys decided, hey, well, let's build a car that we can put a couple $1,000s into and not destroy it in 1 or 2 nights, And they've been fantastic. Yeah. They've been having fun. We brought the Nestabee clan is coming back into the fold. They're one of the young Nestabees has won a race. But Kelly brought this to me over the winter, and we put the rules together. We made it so the points go with the car. So we can have guys like John Murfeld, who is putting together a 3rd car right now. They got 2 cars, and their 3rd car is going to be guest for their favorite bartenders and bar owners and stuff like that.
And that's when Travis called me about it last week or a couple weeks ago. I'm like, man, it kind of opens up a whole new clientele, because I've been thinking that too. I'm like, get some local business owners, somebody that's probably never been to the track, tell them that they're going to be running, and how many people can they bring, right? I mean, because people are going to want to see that,
Some of these guys are bringing a pile of guys into the pits, and they're bringing their families, and they're
and they're having a ball, man.
Yeah, they're having a great time, and the cars are, I think even Big Boy's kind of coming around and warming up to it as the announcer. He said at first, that was like watching paint dry the first night or two, because some guys were just all over the place. They were nowhere near each other. Now the last few nights we've had guys you could throw a blanket over the top 5. We had. Last week we had brothers duking it out for the win, and Kyle had his first night there. He ended up winning the race.
Yeah, well, we were talking a little bit earlier. I mean, I've been going to Florida for 5 years, and the 4.6 Fords down there are big.
Yeah.
You'll have 30 of them.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, like every Friday night.
Yeah, they've actually gone. There's some classes down there that are very, very strict, and some are very outlaw. They've got everything everywhere. We even found out that some of the asphalt tracks, they put these cars on 4 scales.
Yeah.
Instead of just running them across a regular scale. And I think that might be something we might have to look into, is looking at corner weights, make sure people aren't hiding things. Because I firmly believe, you know, how many years of being around racing. I've been around racing since I started. I was just a teenager, and I started helping Ace Im back in the day in the pro stock class, and helped him on up a little ways, and helped some other guys late model and things. Then racing 4 cylinders and limited late models myself. I've seen the rules getting out of hand kind of kill it for everyone, and we want to keep this class as stock and as basic as we can.
Well, that's one of the problems in racing, man. I mean, the 4 cylinders are 15, 20, 30,000. I mean, stock cars, what, 60 grand? Late models, 100, 80, 100.
But
I mean,
we're our own worst enemy. I mean, I'm a racer myself. I'm always pushing for that extra edge.
I get it.
That's part of why they put me in charge of this, because like Kelly said, see, you're the only guy I know that'll go out and research it enough.
Sure.
And you have enough knowledge of. I have a computer. I can plug into these cars, and I can know if someone's been in the computer tampering. They don't think I know that, but trust me, I do, because you spoke about Cletus and cars and those guys down in Florida and stuff like that. I've actually been in contact with some of the tech guys down there and the guys at the tracks and things like that over the winter. You know, Facebook, Snapchat, back and forth type things. They've given me a lot of tips, things to look for, and stuff like that. You know, and they said, we did this and it got out of hand. We did this and it took us the wrong way. We keep it straight. Keep them on the stock size tires. Keep them on the stock wheels. Keep them on these things, and it'll work for you.
That's awesome.
So when Travis contacted me, I was kind of excited, because he's, you know, we've known each other for years, but he's always been an advocate, and that's one thing I can't say enough in the sport. You're either an advocate of the sport or you're an assassin, and you can sometimes be both. You know, some of us racers are our own worst enemies. Social media is great, and it'll also be your worst enemy at the same time. But, you know,
that's the truth.
You got other people out there to tell you no headlines are bad headlines.
Right. So, I just kind of wanted to give a little rundown, man. But take it over, Travis. What made you think of this? I mean,
it's just kind of one of those deals. You know, same going back to the 4-cylinder class. There's not really any entry level class left for the average, I would say, grandstand racer or an older guy that used to race. And you know, a lot of guys might not like the idea or whatever, but I mean, you're gonna build a $15,000 4-cylinder race for $200. Like, that's not for me. I mean, we know who is it for,
even 10 grand, even 8 grand.
So I mean, one of these cars, I mean, we're going to try to pay, I mean, we are going to pay, you know, the 500. We're going to do the first night opening night 750. Like, I made that clear this morning. The more sponsors we get, obviously, it's all going to go back to the purse. I think Dubuque's purse is right around $1,600
for the whole purse.
For the whole purse.
Depending on how many cars. It's 300. It's 300 to win, and the guys that were coming down from Wanakee, they saw that, they're like, wow, we raced for $150 where we're at.
So we're gonna step that up a little bit. If this turns out the way I feel like, you know, we are gonna do a 10-race kind of touring series. I mean, to me, it's like an old Deary Brothers. That's how I'm gonna compare it to. We'll work out
That'd be cool.
you know, the rules. There's a lot of racetracks that's reached out to us already. Davenport's reached out to us. Darlington, Wisconsin, they've reached out to us. I mean, Pat will talk about that in a little bit. We got a lot of sponsors, you know, coming on board with us, I should say. So, unfortunately, you know, we're not going to talk about last night or whatever, but that was kind of our original plan, to try to get the people back to that place and all that. And I think that would be a good place to have a Crown Vic race eventually. I mean, sparks flying on the walls, you know, all that stuff. But we'll see how that goes next year. Maybe there's some different opportunities for some different people or whatever, how that goes.
Yeah.
But as of right now, Timmy Current, Ryan Doom, those guys at Darkside stepped up. Our first opening night, I'm not for sure the exact night, but we are going to run on the All-Star weekend at Makokata. They already got the dates, so it's September 19th and 20th. Our second night for our little tour is going to be Fall Bash, obviously, October 2nd through the 4th, one of those nights. And then we will crown our champion at the Iowa Dirt Nationals, October 16th through 18th. So we kind of, we got some special trophies and stuff like that going on. And like I said, we got some sponsors putting up some roll cages from, dirt cars, racing products. I know Jed Freiberger and Heating and Cooling. They're going to step up and do some stuff. We got Mike Garland. They're going to put up some money for, lap money. So what else do we got here? Scott Rickers, he's going to put up $100 to kind of wherever I want to do it, like a hardest charger, something along that line. Clint Morehouse Trucking, hardest charger and hard charger. All those details are on my Facebook page as well. We're going to have an event page. So,
and all the rules are posted on your Facebook page too, right?
Yep, we post those multiple times. Also, one other thing, Franson's 3-speed transmissions.
Yep.
$50 to each heat race winner, $50 to the longest haul. I believe that's what it was. So, like a lot of local guys, like we know our sport's in trouble, and especially on the weekly level.
Right.
And honestly, like I used to race Sycamore quite a bit. You go up, like we've talked about this conversation. Those guys race Friday night and Saturday night every single weekend. And they have like a spectator class, kind of like what we're trying to do here. I mean, they allow some different rules or whatever, but I mean, there's 2,000 people in the grandstands at that place on a Friday night, and we just need a different variety. Me as a person, race car driver, fan, I don't want to go to any racetrack and watch the same 6, 7 4-cylinders. I don't. There's something has to be done, and basically, we're hoping this is what. We're going to bring it back around.
We're 6 nights into Dubuque with 6 different winners. If that doesn't say a little bit for it, and that's the other thing we did too with our procedures and rules. It's real simple. We draw, redraw every week. We draw, redraw every week because we have different drivers in the cars, even though it's the same car. But also, you win, you start at the back for 2 weeks. We want to give the other guys a chance to let it rip, And 6 weeks in with 6 winners, that's pretty cool. And I could only hope that continues to just keep getting different winners. Give people that have never I know guys that have raced for years and never won a race.
Well,
it's kind of fun for them.
And I know a lot of guys that used to race too, and I've only been around for 6 years or so, but it's expensive, man.
Yeah.
I mean, even in a hobby stock, you're probably looking at 15 to 20 grand, I guess. I'm guessing.
There's guys out there that have been around that are doing things on a budget, but they're few and far between because they're talented people or they've got the drive for it.
Right.
You've got your different.
So what's a Crown Vic? That's probably going to be what, $5,000 or so tops. If you pick one up decent.
I think for $5,000 you'd build one heck of a nice car, because I know some guys that have built them this year. They did around and they got their cars for $1,200 to $1,500. They searched around for them. Some other guys have spent a little more to get a little cleaner car, or they caught one that was maybe wrecked that was real nice, low miles. And they drove down to, and then they took it down to, there's a guy down by Cedar Rapids that does a lot of really beautiful cages, Advanced or something like that. I can't remember his name, but the cages he put in these cars just awesome. And the price he charged them to put them in wasn't terribly that much. I know some of these guys only have $2,500, $3,500 in their cars.
Right.
And they're
the cages just bolt in, right? You don't have to pull the cab off.
You don't have to pull the body off or anything like that. They do cut the floor open and take them down to the frame.
Okay.
They actually cut the floor. They're full frame cars, so they have to be cut open and welded to the floor. But they just basically cut an X, roll it open, weld it down to the frame, put a nice little support leg on it, and then roll it all back shut. We're requiring them to keep the dash shell in and things like that. We've tweaked some of the rules as we've gone on. Like to do things. We try and do things that are intelligent. We had allowed, because of the fiberglass front ends, we have allowed the nose cone, but there's certain things you can't strip on the car if you got one of those nose cones on. So you can't you can't strip out your hood. You have to leave certain weights in.
Yep.
The car weighs almost 4,000 pounds. So.
Now, is there a difference? Because I've had people ask me, because they made police interceptors. Are they the same?
The cars are all basically the same, but the police interceptors are a better car to run.
They got a better suspension.
If you are seeking out a car, I'll be flat out with it. I tell guys, I tell these guys, please just don't go grab your grandma's Grand Marquis. You're better off to try and buy in the Crown Vic. It's got a little more horsepower, and it is legal because we want to allow those because they're the service cars. Sure. Are out there, and they are an advantage. So try and find the Crown Vic. They do have a better suspension under them. They do run a little bit better. And, they're out there. Well,
Right.
the other nice thing that we found out about them though is a lot of guys run into, even if they find a real high mileage Crown Vic that was a service vehicle, they were well taken care of. So the one guy said, I got one that's got 200,000 miles on it that runs 10 times better than the low mileage one I went and chased out and found, and
Right.
I don't know why.
Wow.
Yeah, it's because it was just super well maintained.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What else you got, man? John Wilson. Hey, John, tuned in from Florida. He runs Hendry County down there. He's the track guy down there, so he's checking in. So there's a reach for us. You got the 4.6 Fords, and John knows all about them because he sees them every night at the track down there.
That's awesome. Yeah, the big thing is just trying to keep the cars as stock as we can, not letting everybody strip them out, get them, move weights around, things like that.
Absolutely.
We do have one thing. If people are out there listening to this or see this in the coming days and say, "Hey, we want to come race with you guys," we are maintaining the stock fuel system. They are high pressure fuel system, that fuel injection. We don't really want them trying to put fuel cells and pumps and things in the trunks and bringing it up into the cab of the vehicle.
So just in regular stock gas tanks?
Stock fuel tank, stock fuel system. And we like you to keep the dash shell in. You can pull the
instruments
heater box
and all
and things
that.
like that. But we've been noticing some of the guys that are faster up there. Guy that won last week, he still had the radio in the car. Everything was there, and he spanked them, and he didn't start right on the front.
So you'd be out there cruising, listening to the Bee Gees or something.
The one guy had his radio on the one night. I was laughing when I was walking around doing
God.
safety tech and stuff like that. It's been a
P71 is what they're looking. What everybody says you should
yep,
look for. That's the police interceptor.
The police interceptor is the P71. That's what it's called. Yes, that's the model number or whatever that's called on it. You'll know by the rear cutouts and the tail of it, and it'll have suspension or interceptor on the dash.
Yeah.
Some of them you'll see the hole where the spotlight used to be and things like that, But the Interceptor car is just a better car for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Granted, your grandma's got a Grand Marquis sitting out on the farm that you can throw together. Go ahead, but you're going to have fun with that too.
So what about I don't race, but so you need a driver's like a race seat.
You should. We
get a race seat in
we
it?
require a racing seat.
And
we
a
are not
4-point harness or
you need your 5-point harness.
5
You
point.
have to run the crotch belt. You have to run a racing style seat, the aluminum seat. We're not going for the SFI seat or the most expensive thing out there. You can't use a motorcycle helmet. We need you to use a racing style helmet. Now I'm going to tell you that your 2010 really nice Simpson helmet is out of date. Well, the cars aren't going that fast. We just want you to make sure you've got a good, safe helmet, but it has to be fire rated. So, the problem with the motorcycle helmets, they have nylon on the inside of them. If there's ever a fire, you're going to get burned to your face. We want that safety. So you need to have a racing suit. You need to have some racing shoes. You need to have gloves. You need to have your seat and your 5-point harness, and you need to have, everything just decent stuff.
Sure.
I'm not telling you got to have the nicest, newest stuff.
Right,
Heck,
right.
you probably got a buddy that races that's got last year's stuff that he'll let you have.
Yeah. And
That
Todd
stuff is out
Peterson, Crown Vics are a hit down here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I do because
It's
just
really cool seeing some of the guys with their kids at the track. Their kids are having fun. Their families are up in the thing. They're starting to get T-shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like I said, our group of guys, we've got our group of guys from our area that are running right now. We've got the Reedners. They come all the way down to Dubuque. They come down from up in Wanakee. They're outside of Madison. They drive 2 hours to come down and race with us. That's pretty awesome. Their stuff's nice, pretty fast. But now we got the brother rivalry. The Kyle and Bud are both racing with us. We've got the Culbertson crew and Nick Glenn and our buddy Derek Dean. Those guys were all. I really pushed on those guys a little bit this winter. I know those guys are my buddies.
Sure.
And they love racing. They're there every week in the stands. It's like, guys, they're big demo guys. It's like, guys, you build a car. I know what you guys work you put into these cars. You put so much sweat in them, and you go out and wreck them in 1 or 2 nights. Granted, they do win, but it's $300-400 here or there.
there's a ton of work in them.
Yeah, and then they just go out and destroy them, and there's they're all getting a little older. I mean, we all know you get out of a car that you're all beating and banging around, you're a little stiff. I can't imagine doing that in 5 years from now. So.
Right.
But those guys have been so supportive. They put out really nice cars. They're keeping within the rules. They're having fun. They're nicest guys. They're always smiley. Nobody looking over my shoulder when I'm checking their cars. What are you checking out? What are you looking for in there? What should I be putting in there? They're saying, and a couple of them have been really cool. They're like, hey, I'm not about to start cheating stuff up. I got to keep this thing in a straight line through the corner. They're trying to hang it out like a late model. You ain't gonna do that as a rookie. These cars are tanks.
Right.
And even some of the guys, the veterans that have jumped in them at practice, Dubuque learns a lot of good practice nights on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. So some of these guys have been showing up for every practice and having fun. That's been a great thing. But,
Jerry Mackey, I'm anxious to see these cars. I will be in Dubuque soon. A couple of the tracks I work at are watching this class or are interested in possibly trying them.
Well, Jerry, you'll probably see them when the Dark Side guys take them on, because I'm sure you'll be at those shows.
And Brad Knudy, love the Tri-City Buggy hat. Brings back some Freeport memories.
Yeah.
We were just chatting about that.
Yeah, we were chatting about that when I sat down. Yeah, it's a good hat to wear down here in the Quad Cities. I actually made that hat. I found 3 of these patches on Etsy when I was searching something about Tri-City Buggy, looking for a certain photo, and made a few of these hats. I gave one to Timmy Curritt's dad.
Yeah.
He got a big kick out of that.
That's
I left
awesome.
it hanging on his garage door one night.
Let's see. Mitch Current. I went and watched a race at Scribbins Speedway last Friday night, and they had 31 Crown Vic cars racing for $1,500. Brandon Schneider. I'm watching. I love the idea as long as people keep up to date with the rules and enforcing them. Well, I think that's the point. You guys are going to keep a strict eye on it, not let it get out of hand, right?
Yeah, even where Travis really wants to invite people in for this series and try and get some people around here to build cars, and that's great. But you don't weigh in, you don't wrestle. We got to keep them to what our rules are. And I've been called out by some of these veteran guys and some of these guys up there. Why are we doing this? It doesn't make that much sense. I'm open to it. There's things we've changed. We've creeped back on a couple of the rules and things like that because they don't make sense. They don't cost any money.
Sure.
I don't want to do anything that's going to cost money. I don't want to say, hey, we can run racing wheels. Hey, we can run these tires. No, we're sticking to the 4 match that you have 3 tire size choices, and all 4 tires must match.
Right.
They all must match in size. They're the 3 stock sizes. You've got 4 choices of gear that came in these cars stock. That's it. I know a lot of the guys are jumping from the higher ratio gear to the lower ratio gear.
Yep.
That's a couple $100. They're doing it themselves in their garage. They're not spending a ton of money. And now the cars are just getting closer and closer and closer, fighting for, we're 6 weeks in and these guys are just fighting for the lead.
And there's John again. Really popular to have a Crown Vic Junior class and a Crown Vic Pro class if it takes off good. And that, we were talking about that a little bit too, that there's nothing saying that we couldn't grow that into some,
That's a down the road thing, but I just hope we can keep. Our big thing is just getting people to the track and keeping these local tracks alive.
And there's some different ideas too. Like, I'm gonna try to have a couple cars of our own, and I might try to set up some kind of rental, something. Try to get the average person maybe out of the grandstands. I know it's an initial investment for us, but if it does bring a car later on, and that's another car for everybody around the area. So,
A rental, a raffle, a guest.
Yeah,
You never know.
we're gonna definitely try to put some different stuff together for everybody. And like I said, next year, the 10 race deal, or it might be 12, whatever we figure out. It just depends how many tracks step up. And like I said, we have a few different ones wanting to do it already, and I have a feeling there's probably going to be at least 2 tracks that will run these cars, 2 other tracks weekly.
I know that
at least.
I know that there's a lot of interest up in Lafayette County up there. Spoke with Matt again today, and Matt did say that I'm about 99% sure he's putting these cars on for the Grant County Fair and possibly one other night in Darlington before the end of the year.
And Raylan's Pub and Eatery will add $100 to the winner of the first event. So there you go.
I appreciate that. Like I said, everything's going to go back. Kind of when this deal started, me and Pat talked. We were kind of thinking maybe around 15 cars. And, I was prepared to pay that no matter what, of our own pocket, just try to get something going. So, like I said, everything that we get is going directly back to the guys that are racing. I mean, I already planned to do that. So, and like that 10 race deal next year, and when we crown the champion, I'm sure it's going to be a dark side event more than likely next year.
Dark Side's been big supporters of this.
Sure.
So Timmy and Ryan were talking about this as we were talking about getting it started last year. Ryan's weighed in on quite a bit of this stuff. Timmy and Ryan were also, if they had quit racing weekly, right, when we started the limited late model class, and that class is kind of burned out because everybody wanted to change the rules to their own thing. And I think if that class could have stayed on its rules path, that was a pretty cheap class. We had a lot of fun in that class.
Yeah. So back to the 10 race deal. I don't know if I said it earlier, but whoever wins that deal next year, there's going to be a fresh Crown Vic ready. That's going to be the prize. That's going to be the prize. And obviously,
Cool.
there'll be some more stuff as time comes, but that's definitely what we're shooting for. And, hopefully, like, if we can get the support, it's just going to do nothing but grow. So,
Well, I'm trying to put a car together too,
Sure.
and I will 9 out of 10 nights be probably behind the camera. So my thing, and I think I talked to Travis about it. I'm like, I've been in business for 20 some years here, and I got a lot of bars and restaurants and stuff that I've helped out over the years. So why not try to get some of these people that I've worked with over the last 20 years that maybe have never been to a race or haven't been to a race, because then, I mean, if you get somebody, that owns a Ford dealership or something, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
You might get 10, 15, 20, 30 people in there, right?
And that's-
Just because you're hitting a totally different market. You're hitting a totally different.
and like, if you really go back to, back in the day, we had the spectator drags, and we had, we don't have any of that stuff no more. So if that,
Yeah, they do a lot of the spectator races and stuff like that stuff on asphalt, but they really, over the years, that's kind of gone away from the dirt tracks around here and stuff. I mean, I remember the spectator drags at Dubuque when I was just a little kid. I thought those were always so cool,
Yeah.
just racing on the front stretch. That sort of stuff. I think they still do some of the spectator lap race, some of the asphalt, but I'm not sure. A lot of people want to bring their street cars out on the dirt. Some
Sure.
people would, but
I'd love to, but I don't want to. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah, I'm not sure we're gonna let that. This is the guy that's willing to do it. Maybe
don't
not
know
the guy
about
we want out there.
if you want to take that new truck around one of those tracks one of these times,
Yeah,
we can
no.
set that up.
Yeah, we can make
I'm
that
good.
happen.
I'm good. I'm good.
Get that
Man, there's a lot of stuff coming in. I'm trying to keep up with it. Mercedes, sweet. Hey, limiteds aren't dead yet, Pat. We're still here. Robbie.
Oh, I know Mercedes. I know the guys are still running up there, darling. I'm not saying they're dead. I just wish that class would have grown.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of the things where I say you're either an advocate or an assassin of the class that you're in.
Right.
I pushed real hard to get those cars in different places and stuff, and we had a lot of support. Timmy Current supported us, and Ryan Doom supported us really well, and they're jumping right in again on this deal. The Dark Side guys. Say what you want. Timmy and Ryan are grassroots racers.
Oh, I get it.
They are grassroots racers, and grassroots classes like this.
And they know how to put on a show.
Have that little glass where that stuff is fun when your buddies can get out there and have fun.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
Let's
kind of, even with Dubuque's rules, and that's kind of, like I said, if you can't make it, another guy can drive that car. Points go with
Points
the
go
car.
with the car.
So that, you get your buddy in there and he likes it, and like I said, it's just more opportunity to grow, the class. So
Right.
That was exactly what I wanted with that. When Kelly and I really talked about that rule, and we spoke about it with the fair board, fair people, with the race committee people, it's like, listen, if a guy can't afford it or can't commit to every Sunday night, let's get a guy to get with his couple buddies, or let's get hey, my buddy, the rich guy, wants to build a car, but he can't run it every week. But if I help him build it, we can do this or
Absolutely.
that, And boy, that's working out.
Speaking of that, Robbie, he just went away. Robbie, he said he would help. Tommy Staggs, TNN Service will put $100 for the first race. Use as you want. So there you go. Bud Riedner, I've done a lot of looking online at tracks all across the country, and for the most part, they all copied and pasted the rules, which makes this super easy to travel. Nothing worse than rules, right? I mean,
that's our first night winner. That's the guy that got beat by his brother last week.
Because that's something that a lot of people don't talk about around here, because we're heavy IMCA.
Right.
But if you go a little bit south,
We're
then
right
you get
on
into
the border.
UMP, right? And the cars don't match up. I mean, you can't
It's
go.
hard to take a UMP car from down there and come up here and run unless they're running a blended rule, and it's hard to take an IMCA car and go down to St. Louis and compete, or Spoon River, or one of those places down there.
Yeah.
I just want to say thanks, Tommy, for the extra 100. We'll TNN. I'll let you know where we put that later on.
Mercedes Suite Photography. I love that they're doing with the fake taxi one, putting different drivers in.
Yep. Well,
get more people interested in the class and adds a possibility to add more cars. 100, absolutely.
Now that is John Murfeld's car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and John raced for years in the late models, on and off over the years, and have found some success towards the end, and then he just kind of transitioned away from it. But now he's got 2 cars. Now he's building a third because he's got all his buddies that, you know, Ashley Lawrence that owns the Sandy Hook. It's a very popular bar outside of Dubuque there. Ashley jumped in that car the week before last. He did darn good for his first night out. I was pretty proud of him.
I love it. That's so awesome.
John Murfeld's going to be the Joe Gibbs of the Crown Vics, I think, here.
Yeah. That's good. Let's see. What else?
Salvage yard guys. These guys going to be tearing these cars up. You need to hang on to them, quit crushing them.
That's a good point.
You know, we could use some salvage yard sponsors if anybody wants to throw down with Travis. You got a hulk of a car there that's a decent car that we can make something out of. Travis is looking to make a few cars to flip or to use as rental cars for guys.
Stacy Sager, first year racing dirt this year, and it's nothing but clean and fun. Almost went to Sycamore, but they have cars destroyed every weekend. Glad I found a track to replace Rockford that it's fun racing.
Yeah, it's
Shitbox racing. Yeah, Friday night. Corey.
Yeah,
man.
Stacy's one of our regular racers too. His car is he did it up like a Dubuque County Sheriff car.
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, if I don't have it wired up, can I have the lights on the top?" I said, "No, you can have the lights on the top only if they're wired up and you run them during
there you go.
during the mud laps or the warm up laps." You know, Doug yells at him for turning them on, but as long as he's not doing them during racing, I don't care.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Well, that's fun, man.
Well, the kids love that car.
Oh yeah.
They're seeing a taxi cab and a cop car and an ex-Wisconsin Trooper car out there that's still with Wisconsin Trooper Blue. You know, these kids are loving it.
Mercedes Suite, pretty soon we'll have half the field of John Murfield cars and how big that crew is getting.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, think about it, man. I mean, we have B mains and stuff like that.
Well, John, one comment I got is I talked to John a lot. John's all about keeping the rules tight. He's like, we're not gonna. He's like, just keep after it. He talks to me all the time about keeping after it. I'm very happy about that because, you know, he came from the days when, you know, IMC late models were a great thing 15, 20 years ago. You know, and then there's
a question for you, Travis.
Well, I guess that kind of depends on Brenda and Ricky Kai. I had a conversation with them guys today. I told them I'd give them a shout out, so we'll see what we can get in the works. Who knows what happens with that deal? Yeah, we'll see. So.
Oh, I just think it's great that you're trying to, you know, you've seen this grassroots class and you're trying to jump onto it. You know, you've always been a supporter of racing, Travis. That's pretty cool. I know back in the day when you came to the other tracks where I raced, you were always the guy bringing 50 or 100 flags to give away to the kids. It was bike night somewhere. TDM always had a bike, you know, it always had something to give away. It's one thing I do really miss my racing days at Darlington. I had a lot of fun up there, that limited late model class, you know, being able to take up a bike or do the giveaways, or you win a heat race, you can hand the flag out through the fence to the kids. That's them, and the meet and greet nights are some of the best nights ever up there. You know,
right?
You know, some great,
awesome.
Some great fans.
There's just, you know, like I said, endless opportunity. You know, you can do, you know, powder puff race, and like there's a lot of girls or women that, you know, Sycamore actually has a powder puff race every Friday night. So,
oh wow,
and there's probably 10 to 12 ladies that do that, and you know, if you can get a couple cars or a track steps up and does that, I mean, that's good.
Absolutely.
You know, money on the side for them.
I'm actually shocked we don't have a female in this class. We got a female in about every other racing class around here. There will be a female in this class soon enough. Who knows? Maybe Mercedes will talk her dad into one of these things.
There we go.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's how do we get the people in the grandstands back? And you know, like I said, I'm not trying to offend the 4-cylinder guys or anything like that. I'm just putting money to paper, or you know, being practical about it. And I think this is it, and this is what we're gonna do.
And I think that, and I'm not trying to. I think stuff changed with COVID.
Sure.
This is what I see, right? Because I mean, somewhere down the line, and again, I'm not trying to throw stones at anybody or anything like that, but it seems it kind of flipped to, hey, if we run 7 or 8 classes, we're going to get 110 cars in the pits. We're gonna have the gate. We're gonna at least break even, right?
Everything runs its course, though. I mean, you look at some of these classes as they start to dwindle. It's certain things. The rules kind of maybe went away from, B-mods were supposed to be used chassis. They were supposed to be, you get your tires from your buddy, the racer, there was I raced a couple years in the limited late model, never bought a new tire. I was always getting nice used ones from the guys around my area because we were running those old Hyatt Hard IMCA tires. They were, if you could grind them back to life, and they were good enough for us with 300 horsepower. They weren't for the 700 horsepower guys.
And we're in an area, man, in the Midwest where, I mean, there's a lot of tracks.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of tracks around here.
Yeah, you can pick a night and go.
I mean,
within a couple hours, you can
absolutely.
pick a night and find a race. Especially in the heat of summer. I mean, you can go.
And I think that's what's hard about the weekly too, because there's so many tracks and there's. Yeah, I figured Randy, Sandy will drive for me, so she's probably going to get that chance. Sandy Lamar. I mean, because we got CJ, what is it? CJ Davenport and somebody else runs on Friday. Darlington. So, and
Saturdays Makokata.
Saturdays
Independence.
and
Burlington,
Boone, right?
Burlington and
Boone,
Yeah.
and then Sunday is Dubuque and East Moline.
Correct.
We're not even talking about the West Coast tracks. You get down around Des Moines. There's tracks out there. They're on those same nights
you got Marshalltown and Vinton.
Marshalltown on Friday night. I mean the capital of the stock cars, man. That's watching a stock car race in Marshalltown is wild.
Yeah. So I always wondered too, man, why some of these guys the promoters don't like, because I've been saying this for years, and I'm like, maybe, I don't know, I've never raced a car, but it just seems that if there's 3 tracks running Friday night, man, I'd be on the phone with the other tracks saying, hey, why don't we have a stock car special the first Friday?
Yep.
You guys, we'll run stock cars. We'll take the stock cars. You guys have a modified special.
There's more of that than you do.
Is there some of that happening?
There's a lot of that stuff that goes on. And you start getting to the fall specials and stuff like that. That's, the dark side guys are pretty good at going, hey, there's 20-some hobby stocks in our area.
Yeah.
Let's do a Friday night hobby stock deal because nobody's running them. That's those guys talk more than you think. I don't think they intentionally step on toes. But they also
and Logan Smith, Stewart, Iowa.
You got to keep your shows. Stewart's is long haul. We've been out there.
Yeah.
But these promoters talk more than you think. It's just unfortunate. They probably could do more. Yeah.
But then it runs into too. It's not even about the promoters, because then you got Facebook. That what do you mean? What are you doing that for?
Yeah.
And it's like.
Yeah.
I mean, let's
again. We're guys, stop and think about it before you hit the enter button. Are you? And I'm guilty myself. There ain't nobody out there's not. Trust me, somebody's gonna call me out. I've been that guy back in the day, But you're either an assassin or you're an advocate. Which one are you gonna be today? Do we want to support the sport? This poor fellow over here is going through it right now.
It's still the best sport in the world, if you ask me, man.
It's amazing. It's awesome. What's funny is I think back to I laugh at this because especially like my nieces and nephews and other people in my family and stuff, like, how do you know someone everywhere we go?
Yeah.
I had a guy in Waterloo that was taking care of my nieces and nephews' cars while they were at college over there. They're like, how do you know this guy? I'm like, he's a racer.
Yeah.
He's a racer.
Yeah.
My niece lives in Des Moines. She's got a guy down there. He's a racer. I know these people everywhere. The people from Makokata when I went there with Ace when I was just a teenager. The current family. They've been great to me my whole life.
Yeah.
The racing community is a huge family. No matter so there's nights we hate each other, and there's other nights we always got each other's back too.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's where you see a lot of the guys, like even, for this class, as far as sponsorship stepping up. I mean, everybody knows that this is something that has to happen, and $25 or $50. I mean, I know it's a lot of money and all that stuff too, but I mean, that makes a world of difference, to the regular, person. So,
these guys got a couple $1,000 cars, the guys that come down from Wanakee, they're like, man, we're racing for half that up in our area. They come down to our Dubuque, and they've pulled 2 first place checks out of there and a couple second place checks, and they're racing for more than they're getting second place and getting more than they're winning up there where they're from.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you guys are killing me on the comments, man. I appreciate it, but they're flying in here. I seen John Wilson and it's gone. He's my guy down in Florida, Henry County. If we have any questions or anything, we could reach out to him. They've been doing it for years down there. They also build cars. Cool. Let's see. Logan Smith current puts on good shows. There's no doubt about that. Dark Side does great work, and they have it's not. I mean, there's a good group of people there. I mean,
they've got such a good. They got a good group of support. Good group of people.
Sure.
All their Makokata people and their Tipton people and the Cedar County folks, and then they've paired up. Timmy's paired up with Hoker and which another absolute advocate of the sport.
100%.
The Hoker family and the Kais. I mean, I raced 4 cylinders back in the day. My best friend John, who's no longer with us, he was very close with the Kais and their kids when they were all racing together and stuff. It's a huge family.
Joe Bonnie, do I need to leave my Outlaw at home on Sundays? Well, we'll see where this ends up. Logan Smith replying to Joe Bonnie, at least at East Moline, no cushion, black slick on the bottom. Love to see Pepsi Nations come back to Burlington.
Oh, the Pepsi Nationals. That used to be a
Pepsi Nationals, yeah.
That used to be a crown jewel of the year back in the pro stock days, and it was a Deary show with the late models and stuff. And then the Pepsi Nationals was always huge. The Johnsons were always pretty gracious to us. I mean, that was my early 20s helping Ace. Had a lot of fun down there so I really got to know the Makokata clan and the Currents and all them. We had a lot of fun down there. Terry Neal, that group. It's neat seeing Gage Neal coming on as into moving from the 4-bangers up into the stock cars and doing great everywhere he goes. Yep. Neat seeing some of these young guys turn into full-blown awesome racers.
Right.
I became the old guy in the room.
That's kind of where we're getting at, too.
It does.
You wake up one day, it's like, wait a minute, I feel like there's 10 years missing somewhere.
I like the teching thing because it's a night here or there for me. It's not working on the race car every night because I do have 2 little boys at home.
Sure.
Little Josh and Colin. There's one's soon to be 7, the other one's 5. So that's why the race car went. It wasn't because of money or because I couldn't afford it. I raced pretty cheap and had a lot of fun. Did everything pretty much myself, but you don't get them years back with them little boys.
Right. Yep. Let's see. Diane Schreiner, Dark Side races are always the best.
That's just because she's
and now I'm caught up.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. I mean, I know kind of a lot of people are probably expecting us to talk about last night or whatever, and I'm not gonna do that while them other 2 ain't here. I'm not that person.
Well,
I'm not gonna use that for that, and I get that too. I know, like I said, I will address it if that's all right with you. I mean, I made a decision as a person that probably a lot of people don't agree with. Maybe some people do. As far as what happened afterwards, like that's what I don't agree with personally. If everybody wants to support all that stuff, I support everybody's decision, on that. I'm not going to take that away.
Understood.
So I'm sorry if people are disappointed and that's what they're, and maybe that's something else. Like this wasn't about that. This was about, our class and,
cooler heads prevail. Just give
and I appreciate that. Like I said, man, it's been 24 hours and we had already talked about doing something like this. It was a bad deal.
I was talking to a couple other racers today, Travis, and I tell you what, we laughed because there ain't one of us that's never been guilty of get a little hot under the collar over something like that. And
for sure.
You know what? We're racers as a person are passionate people, and things like that happen. You know what? 9 times out of 10, the guy you really got into a tangle with, you end up being friends with. You just end up being pretty good buddies.
And like I said, and I'll put that out to Rob and Travis, and if you guys want to come in, if you want to let, I just don't feel like it's something that we should throw rocks at right now because it's barely 24 hours old, and there's a lot of passion out there, man. Sure. You guys, and it's no different for a promoter than it is a driver, or it's just.
I don't know if they have a race director down there or anything like that, but I tell you what, that's one thing a guy told me. He's like, hey, being in this race promotion business for years, a fella I talked to today said, he's like, that's why I have this certain person. He's my race director. And when somebody really gets heated, and these are people I've been friends with for 20 years, he said, I have to tell them, hey, go speak with the race director. I wasn't even watching when it happened. Stop. I'll make it right, but for now, you need to go speak with the race director. And then you need your separation from the on track and your personal, and your business.
Yeah.
You know? So having a race director is a big thing.
Would love to see Travis as a promoter. I don't know, Travis. It looks like there's something there, buddy.
There's nothing. There's nothing like that happened without a good team, Travis.
I understand. And that's, like I said, I guess I'll throw it out there. I mean, if that's something that needs to happen and there's a group of people that want to step up, I had this conversation with Amanda, my girlfriend, last night, and kind of if that's what something like that would take. I mean, we all know there's not much money in probably weekly racing as a promoter. I mean, everybody that's done it says it. Is it about the money? It'd be nice to break even, I'm sure, but I mean, it's about putting people in the stands, and it's about the sport that, at the end of the day, that's what we all love, and
spreading the passion of racing.
And that's just it. So I don't know what that looks like for everybody, or, how to get on that page, but there's definitely some opportunities, some different places or whatever. So, like I said, we'll see, how that goes. And like I said, we'll see how this works out. And if that turns into something, then
put me in, Coach Sandy.
See, there you go. Done right. TV Crown Vic.
Yep, that's right. Let's see. All I know now, I got to deal with him. A-Mod, it's way easier to help him in a late model.
Yeah. It's kind of that deal, on a personal level, we'll get our stuff fixed back up. I mean, it's going to be a couple weeks, and our cars hurt pretty bad, and it could have been from the decision that I made, or I personally feel like it was tractor tire. But, like I said, I own that. I stand my ground on that, and if I had to do over again, I wouldn't change a thing. So plain and simple. And, like I said, that's the way that I stand. So.
Like I said, if we all want to get together and chat about it,
sure.
I don't want to be on one side or the other of it. If we all want to sit down and just, shake everybody's hands at the end of the day and move on, I just, and again, I'd like this idea, and you can tell just by talking to you guys already that this 4.6 Ford thing, you guys care about it.
Yeah.
And when I talked to you last week, man,
it has been fun for us.
Passion is there.
It has been fun for us up at Dubuque, and like I said, I gotta give another shout out to Kelly Welter and the Welter family. They pushed to get this class started up there, and Kelly kind of said, "Man, I'm not." He told me, he's like, "Dude, I'm not doing this if I can't get you to come on with me, at least for the first year to help get it going, And then it's got a few things going on in my personal life right now with the family and stuff. It's like, okay. The one night a week's I'm able to put to it, but there's still phone calls and things involved, and trying to keep everybody happy and make decisions. I gotta make decisions for the track, and I gotta make decisions for the racer too. Hey, can we change this or do this? Well, does it cost money? Is it gonna cost the racer? Well, that's because when you get the rules creep, all of a sudden you can do this or you can do that, and now I gotta have 2 of these or 3 of those, and it starts costing. The other great thing about this class, and the one thing is, we all started somewhere. When I was a 4-cylinder racer, I was borrowing a trailer from a buddy of mine. Another friend, the old racer, cut one out he literally had to cut some trees out from an old trailer they had laying out back. He said, "Fix this up, dude. You can have it." I still have that trailer today. I still use it for utility trailer and stuff.
So can you put like the magnetic lights and stuff on it and drive it to the track?
I'm not a cop.
I can tell you this. I did pick up that black one. I don't even know what year that thing is, but I drove that thing from Sycamore, and it's straight piped all the way back or whatever they did to it, and dumps out before the rear wheels. And I had to park that thing. You can kind of ask all my friends. I took that thing through town, and ain't got no license plates, no nothing on it. And I'm like, I'm gonna lose my license on this deal soon.
I've had a couple of them. They have the underneath them, the the muffler under those things is bigger than those speakers you have over the corner. The mufflers are gigantic on them cop cars, and I've had an exhaust shop in Macoka to take the mufflers out and just hook the tailpipes back up, and boy, they sound good. But I'm telling you, I had like an ex-Wisconsin Trooper car that I bought off of an auction that I used to just beat around in.
Yeah.
And my kids thought it was great. Dad, let's go do a burnout. They thought, because the thing would burn the tires right off they run pretty good. They look, and those guys,
used to have one.
Those
Yeah,
guys
I had
out on
one.
the track are going faster than you think. They're actually cruising into the corner.
They are surprisingly
65,
fast.
70. They're winging them things into the corner. You could actually make those cars go into the corner so fast they just loop up and hit the wall. I mean,
I know the rules are posted, but so you can run just a straight exhaust on it. You got to have.
We are letting them. We try and keep the factory exhaust, got the cats, that sort of thing. But I mean, your exhaust must come down, go past the driver's feet, and exit from under the car, or turn down. There's guys that have just taken their cats off and just gutted them and put them back on. There's other guys that have brought just the exhaust pipe down and stuff. The exhaust pipe's cheap. We do want them to sound like race cars. Some of them got them turned out pretty early there. Oh, that guy must be cheating. His car's loud. It's like, just stick your head under there. He's not cheating because I'm looking at everything. And two, it's just the way his pipes are routed. I would like everybody to kind of keep them back and under the car because we don't want them super loud, but it is fun to hear them ripping around the track. The guys are doing fantastic at not really pushing things too far. And it's very clear. 6 races, 6 winners. Nobody's been able to start dead last and run their way to the front. We've had a few cautions. We've had some guys get a little heated with each other and stuff, but they get out, they're just laughing. I mean, the guys, it takes me a while to get them booted off the tech pad. Guys, you got to get off the tech pad. The next group's coming in, because they're out getting out, high-fiving and having fun. Nobody's mad. Nobody's yelling. They got 10 guys with them. I mean, the KR1 and the taxi car, I think they bring a half dozen guys with them.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's one of those deals, like I said, you get a couple of high school kids or something, a shop class or whatever, they can build a car and
absolutely. I would love to have that happen. I would love for next year we could get a shop class or a group of young people or some, an older racer, somebody, that's kind of out of the game like myself that could possibly put a car together with some neighborhood kids and things like that. But we do have the 14, I believe it's 14. We've got it written in the rules. I think that was kind of dealt out by our insurance. So that could be a track by track thing, but we do kind of want to keep it at 14. Someone that's
sure.
But the cars are heavy. They're big. I mean, there is. I'm not going to tell anybody there's no danger out there. I do stress the safety equipment in a decent cage. If I really feel questionable about something, I'm not letting somebody on the track.
No, that's
I'm
respectful.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I get it.
You will be leaving for the night.
And are we gonna? Mike asked a question. Entry fees? No entry fees in Dubuque.
Well, at Dubuque on weekly, it's just your pit pass. There's no entry fee. Yep.
Got it.
You just buy your pit pass. There's no membership fee. Nothing crazy like that. Draw redraw every week. So if you build a new car next week, you could be starting from the pole.
And that's another thing. The winner goes to the back or something.
Absolutely.
So
if you,
the next week, you'll
correct.
In this crown, with your crown tour, you want to do the same thing.
Yeah,
the first winner is going to start no better than 12th.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's just you can't penalize the guy for being fast, but everybody's on equal ground, so it shouldn't be. It should be a good deal.
Well, and with a little more laps, Dubuque we do the 10 laps and the 4 or 6 lap heat race, and that's going to go up with cars. You can't turn around and give them a 15 or 20 lap feature when you got 9 cars, 10 cars. Next year we got a 20 car class that we're going to give them 15 laps. Let them have some fun. We'll give them a 6 or 8 lap heat race. It's the same thing we did with the limited late models. There's nights they cut our laps. The same thing they do with 4 cylinders most places. Oh, we got 8 cars tonight. Throw them all in one heat, give them 4 laps, and rack them up for the feature.
Right.
So, kind of that being said, and I know people's cut purse and stuff. Like, I'm not cutting that purse. Like, that's what that's going to be. There's not going to be no entry fee. I mean, like, we're going to push it. So it's your pit pass. And, like you said, the winner's $750. And I'll probably end up doing that through the whole opening night for sure, $750. And like I said, we'll crown the champion and all that. And it's going to be a good deal. So I suggest that your car's legal because I'm not playing favoritism. Pat's not going to do it. I'm going to DQ or ultimately Pat. He's the rule guy. You know what I'm saying, and all that.
I've done the research, done the homework. We will be hooking up computers. We were not gonna something like this. We're paying that kind of money. We got to keep it legal. Well, I mean, the only guys, I raced my car like that every week. They go to Boone and get DQ'd. Well,
exactly.
We're gonna. If Travis is gonna put up his kind of money, we're gonna keep it to the rules. Well, so though, if somebody comes to me ahead of time with something legit, hey, we got 8 cars that want to come. Well, I'm sorry, guys. You gotta conform to our rules. Unfortunately, it's kind of unfortunate. But hey, you want to come to a chance at $750? You might have to. It's a Crown Vic. You can't tell me you can't. Your buddy doesn't have another one out back. The demo guy that can pull the fuel tank out of it. And you can stick it back up under your car. You can't tell me that just because I require a dash shell because I want them to look like cars. You can't take an old dash from your buddy's demo car and wag it in half. I got a couple guys up there that bought cars from other places, brought them from Rockford and stuff like that, where they had the dashes stripped out. They had to go find a junk car and stick a dash back in it and make it work. Because we want to see the dash lights, and you have to have a working OBD2 port so we can plug into the computer and make sure it's legit.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, yeah, I appreciate you having us on. Like I said, I know other people are expecting things, but this is where we're at, and this is what we're going to do. And
I think it's going to be kind of fun. I know it'll be fun for me to kind of get out a little bit and get back down to the dark side shows and stuff like that, to go hit a couple things,
So, anybody, Travis Denning Motorsports, I know you'll share our stuff on Done Right.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be creating an event page. We'll keep up on it, additional sponsors and all that, like as they come in. Like
the rules, rules are going to be based off the Dubuque County Fair rules. If someone has some questions, they can direct them towards me on Facebook or towards Travis, and he'll get them over. He'll tag me or send you over my way.
Right. So you mentioned the Lancaster.
Definitely. I believe the Lancaster. Matt told us today that they are going to run the Crown Vics at the Lancaster Fair at the end of the month. What was the date on that?
So we got 5 races right now, and that's just within. I mean, not just personally for the Crown, my tour deal, but all together. Couple specials or whatever, and this is what we're going to do
for this year.
This year.
Yep.
And I know
for the end of the year.
If I lean on Jeff Struck will have something at Davenport. I know that, and that's what we need to do. So
Wednesday, August 13th is the Lancaster Fair.
There you go.
And Matt he's hoping he gets a good car count for that, which I'm sure a lot of the Dubuque guys will support it. Maybe hopefully the Reedners can make their way down from Wanakee. That's going to be a little less of a drive for them.
And speaking of fairs, if anybody wants to put their fair race on TV, I'm more than happy to look at that.
That's for you, Matt Christ.
Yeah,
that's for Lancaster.
You do make some money off the purse, or not off the purse, but off of the
somebody tag red
digital gate, I guess, for lack of a better word. But
right.
Sure.
And I'm telling you, a lot of people think that everybody is staying home, but it's generally about 10% of the people that are within about 50 miles from each track. And some guys buy every week, and they're at the track.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I've told you that before. Like, there's times that we rent right from our pit side. And there's groups of guys that come over. Some of the guys
with the haulers and with the nice, they've got it streaming in there. They got it streaming in their trailers, because they're pitted out back at Dubuque and stuff.
And I've also got that 17-foot by 10-foot TV. So if we get any sponsors for that, I'll give people a heck of a deal on that. We could put that out in the pits or whatever.
Yeah, I know that Lancaster facility. These guys will have a ball when they get up there. That is a facility that sits all year and just breaks a lot of our hearts, because I was there with helping Ace back in the day when that was their inaugural races up there. That place is so nice.
And the cheese curds. Cheese curds from that place.
That's Darlington, too. Yeah. During the Darlington Fair, they got good curds up there, too.
That's awesome. Put any extra races from other places, please let me know. 51 will be there. Cool. Just got to hear about the race and the date. That's Stacy Sager.
Yep. That's our Dubuque County cop car. Awesome. I love that he's got the cop lights on the top of that car. It's great.
So do you have a date for the first show yet, or not? Or 100%? Do you have it?
We're gonna.
They got to work. He's got to talk with the promoters to pick which night they're going to put them.
Okay. It will be either the 19th or 20th. So.
And we're going to put it out to a couple of our.
We're looking at July or August.
This is September.
September.
But,
okay.
Yeah. So it's a little bit extra time. I know we're pushing for August, but
hey, that gives me time to build a car.
Well, we can throw a little time out. We can throw a little. We got to talk with the promoters to see which night works better for them.
Sure.
But also we want to throw those dates out to our core guys that are already in. They already have the cars. Make sure the nights work for them too.
I mean, we need the support from everybody.
Not everybody can just bust away on a Wednesday night and go up to Lancaster Fair. But I know our core group of Dubuque and Wisconsin guys will probably go up there. Like I said, there's one car that's with the group of guys like Jason Robbins and them guys that Drew, he has his car. They're from up that area up there in Wisconsin and stuff. So I would look to probably see Darlington maybe adding these cars on a few more nights, maybe before the end of the year, or possibly, a class that they'll put on their regular rotation of an extra class next year.
Basically, if you're wanting to race for cheap, I would definitely suggest start looking for a car for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And and just understand, build it to the rules, because it's not going to be a class where you're not going to see anybody DQ'd, because it's going to happen. Fortunately for me, making my life a little easier right now. Everybody's playing fair.
I think there's a ton of an opportunity, and we've talked about it, for growth.
Yeah.
I mean, because if somebody can spend $3,500 and go out there every weekend and have a blast,
Yeah.
and a possibility to win $500,
Yeah. Well, I mean even weekly, if we up at Dubuque, you're paying $300.
yeah,
There's other tracks that don't pay that for score mod.
Grilled Cheese Nationals in Knoxville on September 19th.
I don't know what that is, but
Sounds good though.
yeah.
If you need a fake cage put in, Wizard Chassis Diversified Fabrication. Ryan Doom, how was getting back behind the wheel of the 12TC?
He must be in the chat maybe somewhere.
Yeah, I apologize if I missed you, man. It kind of flew, and I appreciate everybody's input. I've been trying to keep up with it. And I appreciate you guys coming in, man. Thank you, and I appreciate everybody on the stream.
Travis threw this at me last week on
Tuesday. Yeah. And we originally Timmy was going to be down here too. We originally were planning for tomorrow, but Hell Tour raced across the street.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
hopefully this worked out a little bit better. So
Absolutely.
Well, and we got time. We can do it again if something else comes up, and maybe we could do some drawings or something. And I can start thinking about how I can participate and get involved to get up to that 1,500 purse.
Yeah.
I mean,
that'd be nice.
So
there's other tracks out there. There's fall specials that might be looking for that extra support class, or if they've got a local class that's dwindling and they want to give some other guys a shot. I don't know. Here's the other thing. This is an economy class. We're trying to get guys out there that are on a budget. So I understand if some of these guys can't travel 2 hours away or whatever like that, or hour and a half, or they got a family obligation. We get that, but I just think there's going to be enough of these cars. This is going to be at least a 15, 20 car field before you even know it, and it could balloon up to B mains.
Yeah.
Could happen real easy.
Well, I mean, I've seen it happen in Florida the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's been going down there for quite a while.
And I shoot it happen in Dubuque in 6 weeks, because when you first start, you've doubled the size of the class in 6 weeks.
Well, and some of those guys were working on them all winter, and other guys just weren't done for the first week, and the other guys have just bought cars and slammed them together in a weekend and had success. It's awesome. It's awesome. Right. I really love seeing these demo guys that always kind of dreamed about racing, but they were just doing the demos. I love seeing them get out there on the track every week. That's really cool, because I've known them guys for 15, 20 years.
Absolutely.
They're all good dudes.
Absolutely.
And they're just having so much fun.
Yeah.
And their whole family's in the stands.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Logan Smith will be on Wednesday with Sandy and Janelle on the Wide Open Wednesday. Ryan had a blast in the 12 TC. Friday night, we were in Tipton for the Shit Box Nationals.
Oh, big boy had to say litter box the other night up there.
Well, hopefully I don't get crucified, but I'm looking forward to that one.
Timmy and his shit boxes.
And I think that's gotten. And by the way, thanks to Ricky Kai, because he's bringing us a boom out there, and I hate shooting out there through that fence, man. It drives me crazy. I've done it one time years ago, and I'm like, I can't do it because backstretch is just right in the fence. But anyhow,
look at Ricky. He's always out.
Doom told me he might be getting a Timmy Current, one of these Crown Vics. It's the only thing he hasn't had a tire with yet.
Oh.
Well, hey, the rack and pinion, so you won't bust the center link, but he might break the rack. Might be more expensive. You might want to put breakaway tire rods on it.
Dirt Nationals also. Yeah, so what we were talking about. So any last words, guys? Again, appreciate you coming in. And
I appreciate
thanks for having us down.
all the support. And like I said, if we can get this thing going...
it's going, my friend.
Yeah,
it's going.
Hope it does. So
green light, the green flag just went out. Now we just gotta, because I think you're going to get a lot more. I think you're going to get a lot of people
That's why I told my girlfriend Amanda, I said, we're going to have to take mortgage out on this house. Pay this. There'll be 30 cars there, I hope. But All-Star Nationals, September 19th, 20th, Fall Bash in October, Iowa Dirt Nationals, Lancaster Fair, couple nights probably at Darlington.
At least I'm sure they're probably going to put them on for one. They just everybody hit up Matt Christ out there on Facebook, get them going.
And all these smaller tracks doing fair shows, I mean, keep that in mind if you need something new.
That would have been. It would be a great class for Monticello, but they're not doing the track this year.
Yeah.
So
so Friday we're at Tipton, Iowa for the Shitbox Nationals. Saturday we're in Davenport. Sunday back to Dubuque and East Moline for me.
Not for me.
Yeah,
I'm barred.
We'll see how all that turns out, man. Hope you can become a track promoter. Travis, I don't know, man.
We're gonna need some money.
Yeah. Well,
we all got the easy part done. Like I said, it takes. I understand what everybody's trying to do, and it takes a ton of that money. So, that's a whole different conversation. And
so he's open. He's open. We just need to put it all together. But okay. Any last words? And I won't interrupt you this time. You guys, I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, appreciate you having us.
And let me know when you're ready to do this again. And thanks for everybody tuning in. We'll see you Wednesday with the ladies. All right, guys.
Sounds
Thanks.
good. Thank you.